Right, we'll let in others as they arrive, but hopefully that won't be too distracting. So first of all, thank you very much for coming along today. Really much appreciate giving up your time. I'm doing these quite regularly now. Clearly, AI is a topic that a lot of people are talking about it. So what we're going to do is try and put some of this into context before we start having a look at the particular AI tool that I was talking about. I think most of you saw this message and this invitation over on LinkedIn. So we'll have a little bit of a look at AI, what's going on, what's not going on, what's working well, what's not working well, and that will give us the context for this AI assistant tool that I've been talking about. So first of all, I'm just going to share my screen. Just bear with me, and hopefully we can make that work. And we can put that. Tom, I can see you out the corner of my eye. Can you see a big silver bullet? Just give me a thumbs up. You can. Excellent. Right. Let's get that going. Okay. Yeah. So we're going to look at website assistants for advisors. We've got someone else wants to join, and how they can be used. And they can be used now. There's all sorts of tools, as we all know, that the advice industry is looking at. And I just want to make a couple of observations about what we've seen so far, and the kind of direction of travel that I think this is going in. So first of all, for those of us that have not met, I'm Phil. I've been working with financial advisors for quite a long time, 47 years almost to the day. I created Life Talk, which I know one or two of you are members of. It was the world's first online community for advisors. We have it in a variety of different places around the internet, but the Facebook version is 17, 18 years old now, which is amazing. I've also created the newest online community for advisors as well, called the Advisor Growth Community. And if you want to have a look at that, let me know, and I'll send you a link later. And I've been basically working with advisors for all of that period. I go to a lot of conferences around the world. I think I've presented to well over 1 million financial advisors around the world now, which puts me in a kind of useful position in like get this rather nice helicopter view of what's going on, what's changing, and so on and so forth. When it comes to technology, I've been very lucky to see the most exciting technology that we had back in the 70s and the 80s was probably the fax machine. Um, but now we've got all sorts of other very, very exciting things that are moving at a great deal of pace. So we'll have a look at that. Written a few books as well. My newest one, From Profile to Prospect, is basically how financial advisors can use LinkedIn. That came out literally a couple of days ago now. So enough of that. Let's dive in. So when it comes to AI and financial advisors, what we're seeing is four things. A certain amount of overwhelm, because there are so many AI tools that are now available for financial advisors to use. And when I look at the conversations in Life Talk, I can see a lot of advisors going, what's the best note taker, or what's the best one for doing this, and what's the best one for doing the other. There are a lot of tools that you can potentially use. Now, that is exciting and gives you choice. But of course, there are also a lot of brand new names in the tech world that none of us have ever heard of before. Some quite entrepreneurial businesses. So there's obviously natural concern. Will some of these firms be around in even a year's time? So certain amount of overwhelm. I'm also seeing a certain amount of underwhelm as well. People saying, well, is this as good as AI gets? And I get why people might say that. I'm seeing quite a few financial advisors saying we'll just kind of sit back for a little while and watch what happens, and we'll try and learn as much as we can about it as we go. And in the meantime, we'll kind of try and learn everything we can and develop some kind of strategy for how we're going to use it in our businesses. And in our businesses, so we have financial advisors who own their own businesses who need to be thinking about what direction AI is going to take them, or they're going to take AI. But also, I think there's a lot of potential for individual advisors, whether you're employed or self-employed, to use AI. If you're an employed advisor, it may well be that you're being told you can use this tool or you can use that tool. But there are other ways that you can use AI to support your personal development, which we'll touch on briefly as we go. And there's a fourth group of advisors where I'm seeing nothing but unbridled excitement, who are diving in with their clothes on, really, really looking for every single opportunity that AI can bring. And there are one or two advisors doing some very, very clever stuff with it. But what I want to do today is kind of go beyond that idea of, well, what's the best tool to take notes during a meeting, and what's the best tool to create a suitability report, and just look at it from a more outgoing perspective rather than looking inwards into our business. What I think we're not seeing enough of in the financial advice community is enough of this entrepreneurial thinking. There's huge opportunity to use AI, and we'll talk about how we can do that. I'd love to see a bit more curiosity-driven experimentation. So, for example, I'm seeing one or two advisors using GPTs. These are sort of mini versions of ChatGPT. I think most advisors are familiar with ChatGPT now, and you can create your own little mini versions of ChatGPT called GPT. And I'm seeing some advisors, for example, one advisor has created a little mini version of ChatGPT which helps with his exam preparation, which is quite clever. There's a lot that we could be doing with ChatGPT and other AI tools in terms of personal development, where we ask it questions about how we are going about growing ourselves as individuals, and you'll find that ChatGPT can be extremely powerful doing that. Scenario planning, looking at the future for our businesses. Marketing innovation, yes, we can use AI for a variety of different marketing activities, but what I'm looking to see is real exciting innovation, and I think I've got one of those for you today. And also, we're not yet seeing enough use of AI to support the relationship that you have with clients, where clients can actually use AI, your own AI, to get answers to questions, not to get financial advice from you, but just to support the proposition that you're already offering them. But more of that as we go. At the moment, we're seeing most AI being used by financial advisors in the back office for all the obvious things, reducing admin burden, strengthening compliance, data, and all that good stuff. Now, what I'm seeing, having looked at this in quite some depth and looked at where technology has come from over the years, I'm seeing five different scenarios emerging for the financial advice sector. The first scenario is little or no change at all. Um, those advisors that are going, okay, yeah, it's here. We might use it for little bits and bobs. We might not. Let's sit and wait. Um, where that's really taking us is that AI in the back office will frankly be just a given. Um, it'll be another bit of tech that we automatically use. And we end up in a situation where our financial advice business hasn't changed, but we're a bit more efficient. Faster horses, I think, is the expression that a number of people use. The second scenario I'm seeing is that there will be no more financial advisors. This is the one that this is kind of the elephant in the room. We all on this call today believe that that is probably unlikely, but it is a scenario that people talk about. And just like all other game-changing technologies, I know we hear the words game-changing rather a lot, and it's overused. But with any kind of new technology, it automatically happens where we start looking at individual business sectors and start thinking, well, AI is going to wipe them out, and AI is going to wipe them out. And I know financial advisors are on one of those lists that people tout about. Personally, I don't think that's going to happen. I think the issue will be if there is any threat to financial advisors, the threat will be from other advisors who are using AI as part of their proposition. If we stick our heads in the sand and say it'll go away, I think there's potentially a problem there, certainly in terms of how we differentiate ourselves, how we add value to consumers, and so on and so forth. So an unlikely scenario, but one that we need to be aware of, or it will come to kick us in the backside when we're least expecting. Third scenario is where we see actually more financial advisors. I saw was it Eric Schmidt from Google, former CEO of Google, saying the other day, the idea that there will be no accountants or no lawyers is pretty preposterous. Yes, the role will change, but the chances are we're going to need more lawyers doing more complex stuff. We're going to need more accountants doing more complex stuff. We're going to need more financial advisors doing more complex stuff. So that's quite exciting and quite positive. Fourth scenario is and to me, this is the really big prize of AI for financial advisors, is the ability to create completely new business models that serve a completely different range of people at scale, at low cost, and we can do it really, really quickly. So when we talk about the advice gap, which different people define in different ways, there is no question that AI will help us to deliver a profitable business model that reaches that market. And I'm going to show you one particular model in a minute or two. So to me, I think this is the really big opportunity. And the fifth scenario is an interesting one and I think this is already starting to happen, where the role of a financial advisor starts to evolve and change. With people living longer, the role of advisor is going to change, and we're going to start seeing advisors that have got a foot in the sort of financial planning camp and a foot in the coaching and life coaching camp. If people are living longer, it is entirely feasible that a financial advisor could have a client for 50 years or more. And it may well mean, depending on your age, and you look at the average age of financial advisors, the advisor will be dead before the client is. But I see that changing quite significantly. So let's just kind of keep that in mind. And I've really kind of try to dig deep on this, and I can't think of any other scenarios that are feasible. So these are the two I just want to look at in a little bit more detail: new business models at scale, and how we can use AI to support that, and how the role of the advisor is changing. Beyond the back office, use of AI, yes, it can create our marketing content. I've been doing marketing workshops for decades for financial advisors. Fortunately, they go down quite well, but I know that a lot of smaller financial advice firms, they'll take it on board, but they'll never get it done because they haven't got the time, they haven't necessarily got the resource, they've got the willingness, but not necessarily the time and the resource to be able to do it. With AI, we can get this stuff done, finally. For advisors that say, yeah, perhaps I ought to write the odd article, occasional blog or something like that, we can use the likes of ChatGPT to help us to do it. So we can get marketing stuff done, and that's quite exciting. And because we have AI, we can make that marketing a lot more personalized than it might otherwise have been. We can also use AI to educate clients. There's a lot of people talking about client education, particularly if we're going to go into the sort of advice gap space. It will be all about client education. So creating videos and courses and guides and books and things like that, AI can help us do that a lot. Practice, reflection, and development. Really interesting. You can use AI just to chat with AI like a business coach, and tell the AI what you're doing, what your thoughts are, and get quite open and get quite deep with it. And you'll be amazed how much valuable information AI can give you. Vulnerable clients is a really interesting one as well. I know quite a few financial advisors now are recording their client meetings, which is fantastic. It's good for all kinds of parts of the business, not least of which is compliance. But of course, if you are recording a client meeting and then you run the text of the meeting through an AI, you can get the AI to identify aspects of the meeting where perhaps a client was exhibiting signs of vulnerability. And you can literally ask it, please analyze this client meeting we've just had. Can you highlight any phrases or words or things that the client said that might be indicating that maybe they're not sure, they're uncertain about something, or they might be exhibiting signs of vulnerability? So AI is really, really powerful and very, very effective at doing that. Referrals is another thing. Most financial advisors get new clients from referrals. You do a great job, you look after the client. Not surprising that you get referrals. You could be getting more referrals. And one of the reasons you're not getting more referrals is the techniques that you employ during the meeting. So one of the things you can do is, again, you can take a transcript of a client meeting and you can ask it, please identify any moments in the meeting where the client was exhibiting signs of satisfaction and they were receiving value. Did they say anything that perhaps went over my head or that I missed where they're expressing signs that they're receiving value? So it's all the little things like where a client says, oh, that's interesting. Oh, I hadn't thought of that. Or, oh, that's a weight off my mind. These are all little subtle signals that the client is experiencing value. And when a client is experiencing value, that is a really good moment to be saying to the client, well, if you know any friends or relatives or colleagues who would like to experience that as well, it'd be great to hear from you. So client transcripts run through AI can help you get more referrals. And it's also quite interesting. You can role play. You can take a transcript, you can get the AI to actually role play a conversation so that you can talk more about referrals and how you work on a referral basis with the AI, and it will coach you into using better words and language during your meetings as well. Personal development as well. I've got all sorts of prompts. I'll send them to you for free. I've got a new book coming out in a couple of months' time, which is just chat GPT prompts. In other words, the instructions that you give your AI to help you. And there's a whole section on personal development where you ask your AI to tell you about yourself, and to give you ideas for just normal personal development things that you could be doing, books that you could be reading. Really quite exciting area, that one. The new models we just talked about earlier, and listening to prospects as well, which we'll talk on a bit more. So let's have a quick look at one of these new models, which I think is going to be big. And I wasn't really sure whether this could work in the UK, but having done some research now, I'm finding financial advisors who are already doing what we're going to talk about. So this is potentially a brand new chargeable model for financial advisors. It is based on the simple prospect that you create educational content that you sell. That content, those courses, can be in a variety of different places. They could be in your own online community. We'll explore that a bit more. And you get AI to help you put it together. Now, before we had AI, a number of financial advisors around the world would create their own courses. They would sit in front of a camera and they would just talk about different aspects of personal finance. Now, if you go onto a website like Udemy, Udemy is like YouTube for courses, but people pay for the courses. And you type in personal finance or you type in financial planning, you will find hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of courses that financial advisors and accountants and other experts have put together on particular topics. So we just take some of these at random here that I found. So the top one there, the complete personal finance course, Save, Protect, Make More. It's got a number of modules. They're selling it for 15 quid. But look at the numbers there. 11,000 people have purchased that course. Now, you might be forgiven for thinking, well, if all this educational content is actually out there on the internet for free, let's take YouTube, why would anybody want to pay for this stuff? Well, the simple fact of the matter is, if you wrap it round, if you wrap a price round it and it has been created by an expert, i.e. you, that immediately adds value to it. I know I've been showing financial advisors how to put on seminars and workshops over the years, as a means to raise their profile locally and to attract new clients. Seminars and workshops just work. Simple as that. But I then go on to say to financial advisors, you actually want to charge people to come to your seminars and workshops as well. And what every advisor who's ever done this, who then charges people to come to their workshops, are astonished to discover that the quality of the people who come to the workshops goes up dramatically. So the proof is everywhere to show that if you have some value to offer that you are selling, people will buy it. Yes, it's available for free all over the internet, but wrap it up into a course and sell it. People will pay for that. So we reckon this one here, this one, that top one, 11,000 people have been through that particular course. We reckon they've earned about 165,000 quid just from that course. Another one there, financial planning for families. Just 22 people have been through that one, but anything around 15 to 25 quid. Pay off debt faster, 15 quid. 54 people have taken that one. Personal finance, you can see for it for yourself. Create content, sell it on a website like Udemy. There are other websites, and you can sell it in other places as well. And there, in a nutshell, is a way to get into the advice gap market, if you want to call it that. And it doesn't just have to be aimed at the advice gap. It can be aimed at, perhaps your ideal client market. This could be another way for you to get across your expertise. So let's say you don't want to go into the advice gap market, but maybe you want to focus on clients that you already are quite good at, maybe dentists nearing retirement. You can create a personal finance course for dentists. They will buy it. Here's another one, the Personal Finance Masterclass, Easy Guide to Better Finances. We reckon this person here has earned 52,000 quid just from that particular course. Investing in stocks, a complete course, half a million quid. Investing for beginners, you can see for yourself. Now, if we were doing this webinar live in a room right now, and we were doing it over the whole day, what I'd get you doing right now is creating your own course there and then, or at least the outline of it. And I'll bet any money that each and every one of you watching this right now could come up with a basic idea for a 6 module course. And you could even come up with a rough idea of the content as well. You could do it in your sleep. You wouldn't even need to look this stuff up. Always fascinates me. In January on LinkedIn, I see a lot of financial advisors giving out new year, new thinking, clean your finances, act up tips. Short little posts on LinkedIn. Every year, without fail, I see that. And I'm thinking, well, this is great. You're giving this information away for free. It's useful for people. But my head is saying, why don't you turn those tips into a course? Why don't you put them into a book? Why don't you put them into a guide? Sell it. Make money from this stuff. Or give it away. But do something with this expertise. It's always been a bit of a hobby horse of mine, is that the way financial planning is done in the UK, it hasn't changed much since I got started. I mean, we didn't have financial planning in the late 70s. We had financial advice, whatever you want to call it. I know financial planning is different, but it's always done the same way between consenting adults, either in your office or the client's home or wherever. Yet you have all this expertise up here that you could be turning into something else which you can sell. Now, as I said, these courses you're looking at here were put together before we had ChatGPT. So it probably took them a few hours to put the courses together. And when you look at the quality in terms of production values, they vary enormously. But what's interesting is, as long as the content is on point, people buy it. And what I find fascinating about this is let's just go back to the previous slide. Look at the reviews. 4.6 out of 5, 4.7 out of 5, 5 right across the board, 4.8. So this is good quality stuff, which each and every one of you could do yourself. If you go to Udemy and type in pensions, there's around 126 courses, 3 or 4,000 courses on investments, over 6,000 on investment planning. And once they get over 10,000, they don't even count. So personal finance and financial planning, thousands and thousands of courses that people are paying for. But now we've got AI, we can do this stuff in seconds, if not minutes, which is just wonderful. And here's one more. Personal finance, how to save, spend, and think rationally about money. Look at that, 2.7 million views. Now that one's on YouTube. So it's free. But the point is, somebody's bothered to do this. They're getting huge numbers of views on this. There's real money and opportunity to be had doing this kind of stuff. Now, one of the ways to do it is to create it within a community. If we take, say, for example, our friend Pete Matthew down in Penzance, Meaningful Money, he started out by putting out free content. He's been doing it for what, 12, 13 years now, videos, podcasts, you name it, he's done it. Um, and he's now, in recent years, he's been putting a lot more content into a private community. Private communities, it could be a Facebook group. Excuse me. Not ideal, I don't think, though, for a client community. Ideally, you want a community that doesn't have any kind of algorithm showing people what to say. Absolutely fascinating. I'll give you an example of that. In Life Talk this year, the number of posts there have been from financial advisors saying, what do people think about unbiased as a lead gen source? If I had a quid for every time someone's asked that question, what is amazing is that, I mean, even this morning, somebody said, what do people think about unbiased? Yet only 2 days ago, somebody asked the exact same question. So just because something is in a Facebook group doesn't mean to say that everybody's going to see it. So the question keeps coming up. And the reason why people don't see every bit of content goes in the group is because Facebook decides what you see in a Facebook group. So in an ideal world, if you're going to do this, you want a community that has no algorithm telling people what to see. You need to have some sort of forum where people can chat. You can separate it by topics, nice classroom area, have a calendar, member list, private messaging, and sometimes a bit of gamification. And the sort of platforms that you can do this on, put your courses into, that's what Pete Matthews been doing now. He's selling his courses within his community. So Facebook is kind of the go-to one most people go to, but frankly, Facebook has got it's a lot of problems if you want to run a community for clients. LinkedIn's a bit better, still has an algorithm. Mighty Networks is the kind of gold standard of online communities if you want to create your own. School is one that I use a lot. So the advisor growth community I mentioned earlier, I use the School platform for that. And there's a bunch of other tools that you could even do a WhatsApp group for clients and so on. Or you can build your own, which is not as expensive as it used to be. Now, to give you an example, um, from a couple from the United States, here's one called the Rock Retirement Club, which a couple of financial planners have built. It is literally for anybody who is about to retire or who has just retired. And it comes with a price, gain the knowledge and support you need to create a great retirement. And so it's not just about personal finance, it's about all kinds of different aspects. So health and fitness and so on and so forth. And just some screenshots. Drawing from 25 years experience helping people plan and transition to retirement, my team and I will teach you how to complete a vision for your retirement. Sounds like financial planning to me. Develop your own retirement plan, discover what you can afford to do, allocate your assets, create your retirement paycheck. Because we're seeing more and more people who've retired who are now starting up businesses. Make decisions about health insurance, identify risks, conversations about life and money, navigate uncertainty, know how to respond when things don't go to plan. All sounds like good stuff. He's got a nice little video going on. Your retirement isn't just a math problem, it's about making the most of the only life you have. And they've got courses within it, which people can pay for. And some of them are free. Access to experts, so they make some of their advisors available within the community as well. They've got a bunch of tools as well. I think there's a sort of cut down cash flow modeling tool in there as well. Private clubhouse, live workshops, and access to the team. They also share some of their stats, which is quite interesting as well. They share the male-female split, 86% married, average age 62. The split across the demographics, a few millennials, a few boomers, a few more as well. Average planned retirement age, 61. And the stats. So 48% of the members are retired, about to retire soon, and so on and so forth. So that's quite useful. And they put this on the outside so that if you're a person thinking about retirement or you have just retired, some of this will resonate with you. You'll look at this and think, oh, right, that looks like me. I'll join this. And they also share some of the stats. Interesting, only 27% of a financial advisor. Well, 100% of them have now got access to a financial advisor within the group. 51% have a pension. and they do the old waitlist thing. And here's the price: $800 a year. Now, if you are a person of a certain type, maybe you've had a good job over the years, you've got some savings, 800 quid, $800, that's nothing. Absolute peanuts. Why would you not want to join a community like that? So that's the sort of the one-off model. The model that I quite like is the monthly recurring revenue model, where we charge people a monthly subscription. So Live Talk on Facebook is free. The Advisor Growth Community on School has a monthly subscription to it. And it's very much part of my plan to build a monthly subscription model. And if you've got monthly recurring revenue, you've got a business there that someone will buy one day. And what they do within the group here as well, in the Rock Retirement Club, is they have monthly themes. So in January, we're talking about vision of retirement, July, business planning, early retirement, and so on and so forth. And then they break that down into weekly themes and so on and so forth. And they've got a weekly calendar, which is in. So it's a real community that people can feel part of. They can dip in and out of it as much or as little as they want to. But everybody in the group gives it just thumbs up all the time. So they've got, last time I looked, 1,268 members, all paying $800. I'll take that number on the right. Thank you very much. But now we have AI, we can create even more content and we can do it faster. We can make it much more personalized as well. So already we can see that there are other business models that financial advisors can adopt. Yes, it will need a little bit of work to get it all set up. That's all understood. It's not going to be something that you can do overnight. I'm not suggesting that you replace what you're already doing with this. What I am suggesting is if this appeals to you, it is something that you could start to think about for the future. You could start using AI to help you develop it and build it. And even when you get your very first member, happy days, we know we're going down the right track. I mean, I remember when I started Live Talk, where we had just 5 members. And I remember thinking, wow, this is amazing. And by the end of the first week, we had 10 members. And it just goes on and on. Here's another one: Wealth Without Wall Street. Very much community centered, focus financial freedom outside the stock market. They've got 8,500 members. Started it as a Facebook group and they moved to Mighty Networks. Now they've gone the other way around. They started with a paid membership and then they've moved to the free model. So what you tend to do within the free model, it's free to access the group, but then you pay for stuff within the group. So it's you decide how you want to do it. It's up to you. Either charge people to join and everything's free, or make it free and charge for different aspects within the group as well. Expert sessions, Q&As. They've got their own app, and they've got a bit of a ethos vibe going on there as well. Nice website they've got going, helping people to grow without necessarily relying on investments and so on and so forth. Don't need to go into that in too much detail. Here's one in the UK. Starting to see more and more financial advisors starting to do this. Strategy sessions, community, course. You decide how to do it. Here's the daddy, Pete, been doing this for a long time now. The courses are relatively new, but here's the thing. He's got his academy, which is where the courses are inside. He's got the community as well. He's got the books and he's got the courses. Basic, building wealth, and retirement planning. And Pete doesn't mind me saying he's earning 15 to 20 grand a month just from selling access to the courses. Now, again, he put these courses together before we had AI. So it's obviously taken some time. His production values are extremely good. So it needs a bit of time and effort. But the point I want to make is we're only limited by our own imaginations as to how we take our own expertise, repackage it, and put it out to other people. And now we've got AI, we can do it a whole lot faster. And he's got the book as well. And I think the new book came out a couple of weeks ago as well. So only this morning, excuse me, I saw Abby at Yardstick Agency posting this on LinkedIn. She looked at some websites, financial advisors' websites at random, and she noticed something very interesting about those particular websites. Note, you've probably noticed already, they all start with we. And she was making the point is that a good financial advisor website really shouldn't be about us. It should be about you, the client, the visitor to the website. And she was posing the question, is your website visitor being heard, or is your website just an online brochure? And we also have this other thing, another of my hobby horses, cliched imagery. If I had a quid for every financial advisor's website where we see old people sitting on park benches or flying kites with their grandchildren or walking hand in hand along a beach, which is all nice, it's all aspirational stuff. It's not your fault as a financial advisor for doing that. It's more the fault of your website designer for coming up with this, dare I say, nonsense. And it simply is not reflective of many of today's older people. I used to do rock concert photography before I went into financial services, and many of the bands that I used to see back in the 70s and 80s are still touring today, which is amazing. I went to see Judas Priest a couple of months back. Rob Halford, the lead vocalist, he's 73. The support act was Uriah Heep. Mick Box of Uriah Heep is something like 78. Mick Jagger, 81, 82, something like that. I could go on. The perception of older people, what older people look like today, for many older people, is very, very different from how our websites are portraying them. There's a lady in my yoga class, and I do fairly hardcore Ashtanga yoga. A lady called Jean is 78 years old. She will outplank literally anybody. She is so strong, she is so vibrant, and she would be really disheartened to visit a financial advisor's website to see pictures of old folks sitting on park benches. Now, what I'm getting at here is apart from the cliched imagery that we're using as financial advisors, we are doing very, very little to engage with our website visitors. We are not taking them by the hand and welcoming them into our world. One or two financial advisors have got lead magnets, which is great. Give us your email address, download our free guide, 10 tips for a better retirement, all that good stuff. We should all be doing that kind of stuff. I'm starting to see more and more financial advisors having scorecards and online assessment tools and quizzes, which are really good to engage with your website visitors as well. But the next stage is, dare I say, the chatbot. Now, I think many of us cringe in horror when we see one of these kind of things, yeah? Because we know just how awful they are. I mean, I spotted this one the other day. Excuse me. Chatbots, traditional chatbots, the sort of thing where you want to get in touch with a bank or you want to get in touch with your mobile phone company, are just awful. They simply are not fit for purpose. This one, I spotted this one the other day as well. I'll grab some water while you look at that. It's just nonsense. Why do we put up with this kind of nonsense as well? So let me, there's another one as well I found. Uh, so let me show you something new. And it's a tool that I've been using as well. And I'm going to want to talk about a fictional financial advice firm, broadly financial planning, and talk about new generation chatbots, which are essentially clones of you or clones of your business. You can call it a chatbot, you can call it an advisor clone, you can call it a website assistant, conversational AI, you can call it a firm specific version of ChatGPT. Now, let me say why that's important. My most successful post on LinkedIn to date, and I've written 4 books on how to use LinkedIn. My most successful post on LinkedIn happened on Christmas Eve last year, where I put a post that said that OpenAI, who own ChatGPT, had just announced that you can add ChatGPT as a contact in WhatsApp. And I thought kind of nothing of it at the time, but I've realized over the months just how profound that is. Now, the reason it's profound is because 79% of the UK population, the adult population of the UK, use WhatsApp pretty well every day. Yep. You maybe to chat to colleagues, maybe you've got a family WhatsApp group, maybe you're a member of another WhatsApp group, whatever. It is the kind of almost default messaging tool that people use these days. The fact that you can add ChatGPT as a contact within WhatsApp is really, really interesting. In fact, if you're in the United States, you can phone up ChatGPT on WhatsApp and you can have a chat with it. Can't do it in the UK just yet, but what you can do is you can message ChatGPT and have a conversation with it. Literally, you add it as a contact. If you're interested in how to do that, I'll send you a note later. But why is this important? It's important because if it is as easy as well, let me give you an example. So what I did was I sent ChatGPT a message on WhatsApp and I said, ChatGPT, I'm a dentist. I'm 3 years off retirement. I don't think I've got my pension ducks in a row yet. What should I be doing? And in like all of 1 second, it sent me a 3-page report, just like that, instantly. And I thought, wow, if it's that easy to get access to financial information, we really need to be on top of this as financial advisors, or at the very least, have our own version of ChatGPT that we can tell our clients about, which they can use if they want to do it. So I've created this fictitious IFA firm called Broadleaf, and what we've done is created their own AI clone. Now, what it does is the clone, imagine ChatGPT, but it's trained on you. It's trained on your knowledge, your data, your website, your FAQs, any articles that you might have written, your LinkedIn, literally anything there is about you, we plug it into your firm specific version of ChatGPT. Now, I've been using this as well, so that I've got my own AI clone and I use it. It's for financial advisors. It sits on my website. You can talk to it about anything to do with marketing and we'll have a good old chat. And it will do it in your own tone, your own style, and your own brand voice. So if you're a financial advice firm and maybe you're kind of steering down the family office route for very, very ultra wealthy people, you might want the tone and style of your bot to be quite serious, quite academic. Or on the other side of the coin, if you're a fairly relaxed kind of financial advice firm, you might want it to be a bit lighter, a bit more, even jovial. You can do that. It sits on your website and people can talk to it. Not like the old school chatbots of old, but in a very, very conversational style. One of the things I often hear financial advisors saying about AI is that AI can't understand emotion. This can. If you get angry with it, it responds accordingly. If you get tearful with it, it responds accordingly. If you want to be really funny and jokingly, it responds accordingly. So the idea of it is not to give financial advice, but to answer questions about you and your business. The typical sort of stuff that someone visiting your website wants to know before they even meet you. How long have you been in business? What are your fees? Tell us about your advisors. What qualifications have you got? Why should I use an advisor when I can get information off YouTube? Any of those kind of questions it can answer. And it can even sense the moment when it feels you might be wanting to actually talk with a real advisor. And it will suggest it'll put up like a Calendly link or something like that if you want to do that. Now, the really cool thing about it is you, the owner of this AI tool, you have like a dashboard and you can see the conversations that the AI is having with people. So it's a lead gen tool as well. You get a little notification, someone's just had a chat with your AI. You can go and have a look at the dashboard. You can see the conversation it had. And if somebody's asking about inheritance or equity release or something like that, you can then follow that person up in person, but you can highly personalize. Hey, Mrs. Jones, I see you just had a chat about equity release with our AI. That's a really interesting thing. Is that's obviously something of interest to you? Tell me more. Um, so you can personalize how you follow it up. What's really interesting is because you can see the conversations that are taking place, you can essentially decide whether or not you do actually want to follow someone up. Some of the conversations will just be people saying, "Can you tell me whether I'm being ripped off on my credit card charges?" And clearly, that's not necessarily someone that you might want to follow up. So it pre-qualifies the leads. You decide who you want to do. It really does differentiate you, and it also creates content for you as well. We're going to have a look at it in just a second. Where can you put it? You can put your AI. It has its own URL, has its own link. You can stick it as a button on your website, or you can even embed it in your website. You can put it on your LinkedIn profiles, company page, personal profiles. You can put it in your email signature. You can have it as a permanent feature in your regular newsletters. You can have a link to it, a QR code, for example, in your brochures, your QR code on your business card. So literally anywhere that you want to be visible online, you can put a link to it. So my new book, Profile to Prospect, I put a QR code to my AI in the book, and I've trained the AI on the contents of the book, so people can read the book, then they can go to the AI and ask me, a question, or you can even chat with the book, and you can say, "Look, I've read this point about how you can use LinkedIn. How can I use this for me?" So you can literally have a conversation with the book. So why don't we have a quick look at this and see it in action? If I just want to get rid of this for now, in show here, and we just get rid of that. Right, and we share this, and we go here. Just bear with me. Right, Tom, again, can you see the broadleaf thing? Just give me a thumbs up. You can, fantastic. So you have your own landing page. You can have your logo, whatever you want to do, and it says here, meet the Broadleaf Financial Planning AI Assistant, here to answer your questions, explain our services, help you explore whether we're the right fit for you in our tone, our style. You can put a link to your socials here as well. So if I click this, it will take them to their LinkedIn profile, and you can put some other links as well, take you straight to your website, your blog, anywhere you want to go. Chat to Broadleaf AI, your always available guide to who we are, how we help, what financial planning could look like for you. Ask questions, explore our services, or see if we're a good fit. Before we have a go with it, down here we also have a disclaimer, just so people are absolutely clear what's going on. It's not a real person, does not provide personal financial advice. It may occasionally get things wrong. It's important we say that, or present incomplete information. Always contact our team directly before making any financial decisions. So I think it's important that we have that as well. Okay, so let's ask it a question. Now, what you can also do is have some ready-made questions, because although we talk about people using AI these days, the first time some people will use an AI, they won't know what to do. They won't know what to say to it. So you can actually have some ready-made questions here. But let's say something like, let's just start with, "Hi, I'm retiring soon." So bear in mind, this could be on your website, or it could even be on your LinkedIn profile. Let's see how it responds to that. Hi, how are you? Now, it will use their name as well. Everybody has to log in to use it. So that's how you get their name and their email address. So it will actually use their name. Retiring soon, that's a big milestone. How are you feeling about it? There's a lot we can help with at this stage, whether it's making sure your pensions or investments are lined up properly, understanding what income you can expect, or just getting clarity on what life after work. Would you like to start by telling me a bit about your plans? For example, do you already have a retirement date? No, just getting Fed up with commuting. Excuse me. Makes a lot of sense. Daily grind can really take its toll, especially if you're already starting to think about what life could look like without the commute. Are you thinking of retiring fully or possibly easing into it? Part-time work? Sometimes people like a bit of structure or income coming in. What's your thinking at the moment? Not sure yet. Maybe some travel. Now, I've not programmed in answers to these questions. These are it doing it by itself. Great. Tell me more. Travel can be a brilliant way to mark the start of retirement, especially if you're putting it off during your working life. Are you thinking of a few big trips or more regular getaways? Would this be something you'd want to build into your celebration budget long term? Knowing how you'd like to spend your time can really help shape the financial side of things. Well, let's try something like, in fact, retirement scares us because we are concerned. Let's see how it handles that. Okay, that fear of running out of money in retirement is really common, especially when you're thinking about something exciting but potentially costly. It's a big shift, going to earning what you built on. Good news is exactly where proper planning can make a huge difference. We can use cash flow modeling to map out your income, spending, assets, and plans like that world tour and show you how long your money might last under different scenarios. It's not about guessing, it's about giving you clarity. Would you like to explore what modeling might look like for you? We can start with a few basics. Let's just go okay and see what happens. Sounds like you're ready to start exploring. To help have cash flow model, we'd usually begin with a few key details, pension savings you've got, other income sources, typical spending plans, show you different scenarios, including how your money might last and what's possible without risking your long-term security. Would you like to go through, we could set up a Zoom call. Um, let's go, let's throw in a wobbly. Uh, Great that your neighbour's done well for himself. Completely natural to swap ideas with people you trust when it comes to your own financial future, especially around retirement. It's worth thinking about a few differences. Your neighbour might have investment tips that work well for him, but they may not suit your goals, risk tolerance, or time frame. What we do is take personalised structured approach, looking at your full picture, blah, blah, blah. We also use tools like cash flow modelling. Would it help if I showed you how we'd approach things in your case? We can start with a simple overview. Let's do maybe later. While I'm here, I have a two coming soon. Can you call me now? Now, it's entirely likely that some people will want to do this. You're a financial advisor, someone's on your website, you've got a chatbot. Tell us what to invest in. Okay, thanks for sharing that. 2 million inheritance is life-changing, really worth taking the time to think about how best to use it rather than diving straight into fund suggestions. We normally start with a few questions. Make some investments align with your goals, generate income, grow money. Do you have any short-term plans? What's on your priorities? A mix of equity fund, blah, blah, blah. Um, just let's start with, let's see if we can force it to give some advice. So now, this is interesting that it's done this because you will have noticed some little stars here underneath its answers. Now, as the owner of the AI, you have trained it on a variety of different things. Um, I finished building this one on Friday last week, and it's not finished. Now, what's interesting is because I own it, I've got these stars. So what I can do with this is I can look at the answers that it is given, and I can decide whether or not I think that is a good answer to the question. You'll also notice the length of these answers as well. We can make it answer um, in shorter answers or longer answers with a different tone, with a different style. One of the things we do when we set these up for advisors is we have like a Zoom call where we just chat about your business. We then transcribe that call, run it through the AI through an AI, and ask the AI to come up with training data that reflects your tone and style. And then we train the advisor with that. Now, what I can do is I can look at this here and I think, was this a good answer? If I think that's a near perfect answer, I will give it 5 stars. If I think it's a pretty rubbish answer, I'll give it 1 star. And if I give it anything less than 5 stars, when I click either 4, 3, 2, or 1, it will then allow me to edit this text and correct it so that it answers in future. In other words, it learns from its own mistakes, which is really quite clever. Now, this bit here, this answer here, I think is straying too much into advice. So what I would do here is hit one of whatever these and then correct it and give the answer that I think it should be given. The idea of this thing is not to give financial advice. I think in a couple of years' time, it might be sooner than that, we will be allowed to have AI tools like this that can actually give financial advice, but that's for another day altogether. So I hope you can see here the kind of capability. You can see how conversational it is. It's nothing like the AI tools of old. And in many ways, I said I'm going to use that game-changing word as well. And we can sit here and we can chat with this forever and a day, which is fantastic. And around the back, he has a dashboard which you, the advisor, can have a look at these conversations, and you can use it to in a variety of different ways. Now, what's also quite interesting is that if I just stop sharing that now and come back here, um, the tool will also over time, it will notice what topics and what questions are particularly common in your particular AI. Now, for example, if you do have a niche, maybe you focus on dentists, the chances are you're going to get quite a few dentists using this as well. And what the tool will do, it will tell you what topics are of most concern to your users of your AI. And that means you can, and it will then, if you want it to, it will create blogs and articles and content that you can post based on the topics that people are actually interested in. So it doesn't just chat with people, it also monitors the chats and gives you data on what people are interested in, what sort of things people are concerned about, what are they worried about, what would they like, what do they generally want more information about. And you can actually create blogs and articles within the tool as well. So we're about done for today. I hope that kind of just gives you some insight as to where things are. I think most people tend to be really quite surprised as to just how conversational that is. There are some quite subtle nuances that you really wouldn't expect a chatbot to actually do. Some of the words and the phrasing are really quite surprising. For example, this: "It's great that your neighbour's done well for himself." Um, did I say his plumbing business? Yeah, so it's picked that up there. So hope that's of interest. Hope it gives you just kind of a sense as to where things are going, where the opportunities are for advisors as well. If anybody's interested in the kind of pricing for this, I'll drop you a line. I'll send you a copy of the video as well, so you can go over it again. There may be other people in your business that are kind of interested in where this is going. But to me, this sort of conversational tool is next level for websites. It's a website in its own right, but you can plug it into your website. You can embed it in your website. You can put it on your business card. People can access it in a variety of different ways. And really interesting, if you, Ian McKenna, the tech guy, he's some fascinating data about when most people visit financial advisors' websites. And the truth of the matter is that most consumers visit financial advisors' websites when you are not there. In other words, when you're at home, when you're at sleep, during the weekends, and so on and so forth. So if you've got a tool like this here that can welcome people in, can engage with them, add some value to them as well, in your absence, this will do it for you. So hope you found that useful. Unless anybody's got any questions here and now, right now. Oh, we've got a raised hand now. Let's have a quick question, see if somebody's asked. No, I can't see any questions. Is it in the chat? No.
Hi, Philip. No, is it all right to speak, or do you want me to put it
Yeah,
in the
please go for
chat?
it. Go for it. Yeah.
Um, I'm a bit of a fan of you. I've listened to you quite a bit and read all your books. I'm really looking into these courses myself, but I wanted to ask you, are there any platforms or tools that you can recommend to create the courses to put on Udemy and in your own community? That was my first question. And my second question is that I appreciate you saying not to use, well, Facebook not being great to create the community because of the algorithms. How are you getting people onto the other community that you mentioned that you're using?
Okay, really good question. So first of all, let's do that backwards. If you, I'll tell you who uses Facebook really well as a community, and that's Catherine Morgan. Um, she's a financial coach. She used to be a financial planner. I think she still is a financial planner, but she does a lot of online stuff and she builds it around the community. And she uses Facebook. And she largely uses Facebook because that's where most of her ideal clients already are. Most people who have online communities that are business focused are slowly but surely coming away from Facebook and using other platforms. There are a variety of courses available on how to start a community on another platform and to bring people off that platform, off Facebook and onto that other platform. That's for another day because it takes quite a long time. But it is worth thinking about. Facebook is changed over the years. When we started Life Talk 18 years ago, Facebook was a very different animal. It seemed to be the right place for us to build our community at that time. Since then, times have changed. We saw the Cambridge Analytica issue, which caused a lot of problem for some people. Some people aren't necessarily comfortable with the way Meta's political allegiances are aligned. That's again for another day. You pays your money, you take your choice as to where you want to build your community. I said the best platform to do this, but it costs a bit more, is Mighty Networks. They've got the most phenomenal facilities. I use School because it just happens to suit me. It's absolutely fantastic facilities. It's owned by Alex Hormozy and another guy, I can't remember his name, and I like them a lot. So I'm using them. Now, your other question was about how do we create the courses? Now, in the before we had AI, you would come up, you'd do it all by hand yourself. We'd sit down, we'd say, right, let's do a basic course on personal financial planning, and we'd use a notepad or whatever, and we'd say, right, it needs to have this module, it needs to have a module on this, it needs to have a module on debt, it needs to have a module on protection, and then we would just create it. One way, a simple way to do it is to imagine that you have been asked to do a presentation in a client and a local business who would like a day-long course on personal finance for their staff. And you would probably open up your PowerPoint and you'd get typing. That's a good a way to do it as any, to be quite honest. Create a presentation, do it on PowerPoint, present it, full stop, and then record it. That's one way to do it. Or you can go to a photography studio, a video studio, and you can be quite fancy. Literally, it is up to you. But from experience of doing this, frankly, the production values do not matter anything like as much as is the thing, does it have value? Is it, has it got content that people are paying for? You might not get it right first time, a little bit of tweaking, but now we have AI. ChatGPT can do most of the heavy lifting. If you wanted to create a module on, let's say, managing debt, household debt, go to ChatGPT and give it a nice long detailed instruction. Say, look, I'm putting together a course. I'm eventually going to record it. In the meantime, I need the content for a module on managing household debt for families. Tell me what ought to be in this module, and it'll do that. And then you can even get it to write the module for you. It's as simple as that. There are AI tools that will even turn your text into video as well. There are even AI tools that will present that it looks like it's you actually presenting it, but it's actually an AI version of you, a hyper realistic video avatar of you. So again, it is very much you pay your money, you take your choice. But I would start with ChatGPT and just see where you go. You can do this overnight if you want to, but I would just be a bit more strategic about that and think about it, think where you want to go, and use ChatGPT as like a coach. Use my AI tool, have a chat with my AI tool, and see where you get with it. Does that help at all?
Yeah, 100%. Thank you. Really
Great,
useful.
fantastic. Feel free to get in touch if you need any more help. Okay, I've taken
Thank
up
you.
taken
Matt.
up.
I'll be in touch in the next few minutes. You're going to regret saying that, Philip. Yeah. Oh no,
No,
thanks a lot.
no problem at all. Okay, thank you, everybody. You've all been very generous with your time. I hope you found that interesting. In very exciting times with AI. We're just really scratching the surface of it right now. If anybody's interested in one of these AI conversational AIs, just let me know, and we can have a separate call. So thanks a lot, everyone. Take care. I'll send you the video, and hopefully we'll be in touch again soon. Bye.
Thanks, Phil.
See you soon.